There's two shows where there have been a lolly with shotgun that we considered the best character of the show, and that was the combatants will be dispatched. And then Cyberpunk.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Cyberpunk as well.
We need more lollies with
We
shotguns.
need more lollies with shotgun. That's what we've learned here. So this is going to be one of the things that I'm going to point to. How many users have voted on all of these? Oshinoko has 350,000 users that have voted. Full Metal's got 3.1 million that have voted on it. Excuse me, 1.5 million. The other 1.5 million is their alt account. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But I don't think it's dumpy. I just dumped it because
That's fine. It's still dumpy
already
because you
read
dumped
the
it.
manga.
I have other
Just like your girlfriend. Dumpied.
Yeah, get wrecked.
I haven't even started Dr. Stone. You see, that's why I like to start, even if I read the manga, I like to start anime so I could just watch the whole thing.
I'm going to be honest, though. Even while reading Dr. Stone, it was just kind of a slog sometimes.
Okay, this is a great conversation, guys. Can we save
Yeah.
it for the actual episode?
Well, yeah, we're good. Just making sure all that toxicity was gone.
Welcome, everybody, to Life is... I think, actually, I'm not supposed to be the host, is it, Thane?
What's your movie or your?
But do we do the person that does the... I don't freaking remember.
I always said, like,
It's
just do
so
the...
bad. We should just do the person who does it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
that's
said
fix
that
the show.
several
You're right,
times.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Life is Daijoubu, episode 23, with the boys, with the hosts, the friendos, the gamers,
weebs.
the weebs. I'm Cole. Skylar's over here on my right. I got Thane over on my left. He's pointing at Luffy.
Well, I'm just pointing at me.
Oh, he's
but
pointing at
I guess
himself.
Luffy's on
I
me.
thought
He is Luffy.
you are Luffy. Guys,
Yeah.
we've got some anime to talk about today. I mean that's what you come here for. So I hope that's what you'd want to hear. And we've got some news. We've got our weekly shows. I think we're in week three of the season at this point. And so
yeah, I think
week 3 or 4, we're in a decent
Well,
ways into the season.
there are some shows I've watched with the 4th episode.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but I think that probably because it started early or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
So 3 or 4, week 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So we got some new stuff to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about some of our, or rather, like one of our shows that we're liking and one of our shows that we're kind of not liking, and we'll go into a little bit of depth on a little bit of that as well. And then after our break, we're going to be talking full on unspoiled, or not unspoiled. What?
Uncensored.
I was going to say
raw,
uncensored, but
unfiltered.
but it's like I wanted to like say like it's not not us, like we're going to have spoilers is what I'm trying to say.
Spoiler zone.
But like, what is there a fun word to say that?
We're gonna ruin it for people that haven't seen it.
Oh, whatever. It's spoilers for the anime Takt OP.Destiny. I guess that's how we're saying it.
Yeah.
I know that's how they say talked. I just the name's bad.
I've heard tack. I've heard people pronounce the word tact.
Well,
like
in
tactic.
the English dub that I watched,
They
because
said
I'm
talked.
Yeah, they
I'm a
pronounce it
pompous.
talked.
Yeah, same, bro. Same. Give me that.
I just wanted to watch something while I was playing video games or something.
So you also are not a degenerate, a
high class.
Yeah.
no.
Anime
what
watcher.
what do they call the people like dubs that are bad? They're like, you guys are bad for liking
Yeah.
dubs.
Just
I
the,
thought this
the
dub was
underclass.
fine.
Fake weeb.
Fake weeb.
I thought the dub was fine.
I thought the dub was
Yeah.
fine, but we're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Before we get there, let's talk a little bit about the news. I've got 2 news stories I can bring up, and then we can just briefly talk about some other things that are happening in the general sphere of otaku culture.
Yeah.
The first thing is Tying the Knot with an Amagi Sister. The manga is getting a TV anime. I don't know anything about it, but I think people like it. Next thing I got is very similar, because it's a manga getting an anime adaptation. It's called The Foolish Angel Dances with Demons is getting an anime adaptation. I don't know about any of those. either
And
of those.
since we do a Pokemon podcast, we have some unfortunate Pokemon news.
Well, hold on. I was going to talk.
Oh.
You're just jumping on.
Sorry,
it.
I thought you were done.
I was going to say the dances with the demons one. They got this like blonde hair girl, so like you can tell why this is a popular one. Like you can tell why this is a popular manga with
Wow.
They're just like, ooh, my dress up darling, copy, paste.
Yeah.
Put a little bit of like vampire teeth in there, and we'll call it a day.
Oh God! Every time there's like that one.
Oshinoko eyes.
Every time there's that one show that's like popular, You see a million
K-On.
clones. I've seen a million Bleach clones.
K-On.
K-On. I've seen a million K-On clones. Some like Bochi do it a million times better. Sometimes
You never saw K-On, did you?
No, but after that video you sent me, I watched it. I was like, oh my god, how many shows have I seen that are just like K-On?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of K-Ons as well, but I've never seen the K-On either.
I haven't either. Because I've heard there's...
Cute
This is
girls
what I've
doing
heard.
Cute things.
I've heard that there's no substance. It's just cute girls doing cute things.
Well, I guess is playing music considered cute things?
Depends on
The
you.
idol-
Who you are.
The Idol Master launched a million Idol animes. And Dragon Ball pretty much was the entire backbone of the shonen genre.
True, very true. It basically everybody copied it.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to bring up with you guys, because I don't know if we've talked about it on the show or even when it's supposed to release, but do you guys know when the new K-manga app's coming out? The Kodansha one?
Well, let me tell you, if you follow them on Twitter, they'll post every single day how many days is left until it comes out.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
I think we're currently on 18, I think, right
Oh, so
now.
it's close.
Yeah, it's within like
What's
20
the price
days.
range for? What's the?
I don't actually know. They haven't.
Okay.
I don't think they've announced that. I've looked.
Well,
I can't find anything.
If they have a free trial, I'll do it.
I know they've
Yeah.
got. You can just read stuff for free though. I'm not really sure
Yeah.
what that entails, or if it's going to be like a Manga Plus where it's got like the ticket system.
Yeah.
But like it almost sounds like they're going to have like chapters 1 through 20 free to read, and then chapters 39 to 47 free to read, and then chapters 86 to chapter 93 free
I
to
hope
read.
there's
Then
a
you got to
number-
pay for the ones in between. And I hope it's not that, because that's really sleazy.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to be competitive with Shonen
It
Jump,
has to
so
be.
it's going to have to be some similar
Yeah.
business model.
I think it's got to be a subscription base.
Yeah. It's got to be subscription based, like Shonen Jump, but maybe like a little more in price, so they can like, or because Shonen Jump's only like what, $3 a month.
Yeah, $3 a month, and then the Manga Plus one is honestly kind of like really good, but also really bad at the same time. Like when you're reading it for free with like the little ticket system,
Yeah.
it's incredible. But if you like miss the chapter or whatever, F up and click it on accident, and they want you to pay like $1 per chapter, that's kind of broken.
Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
so you gotta be real careful just to like, okay.
yeah, you click on a chapter, you have to read it right then and there,
Yeah.
or it's like you're done.
See what happened to me when I first got it, and I got it to read Oshinoko as
Same, bro.
on the
same.
homepage. It shows a whole bunch of manga, and it's like jump in. So I clicked Oshinoko,
It
and
takes you to the latest
yeah,
chapter.
it took me to like chapter 95 or something, and I
Yep.
was just like, oh no, because I freaked out because I remember you telling me about the
Yep.
ticket thing. So I was like, F, dude.
And it'll get you.
Yeah.
When
so
you finally get caught up, it's like, get F, bro.
yeah.
I
Hot
wonder
tip. When you open up the app,
I'm curious. I gotta follow along now.
yeah, you open up the app and it takes you. It says updates. Don't click anything.
Yeah,
You-
don't click the update.
Yeah, you need to click on search,
Search.
and then you can click on anything from there. You can search anything, and then
Yeah,
add it
search
to your favorites. So then when you open up the app, once again, don't click anything on the homepage. Go to your favorites, and then get into the manga you want to read that way.
That said, when I am caught up weekly, like I'm caught up with Dan to Dan, I do just go to the homepage and click the thumbnail
Yeah.
for that every Monday, and I read it that way. So that's
See,
kind of nice.
and
in
I
that
think
way.
that works. That works just fine. But
If you're not
I
caught
still
up,
hate
you're gonna
this.
get boned.
That yeah, it's like, why would you let me just click on this and waste my ticket?
I think that's the point, though.
But if
Yeah.
anything, it should be let me click on it, and then it takes you into
Yo,
the
you'd
different
think.
chapters.
Yeah, like this shows all the chapters, but
I wonder if Viz is kicking themselves for not snagging Ochinoko because Seven Seas has it.
well, it's so weird because
Yeah.
Shueisha technically has the rights to it because that's how
Yeah.
it's on Manga Plus.
Sometimes with Shueisha, like with stray manga, like ones that's probably too erotic that Viz won't pick it up, Seven Seas will usually grab it. But I look at the rights holder for Oshinoko, it's like Seven Seas. Why didn't Viz snatch this one?
Is
This
Seven
one's-
Seas like a subsidiary of Viz and Shueisha now, or no? I
No,
know
I
that
think they're their own like thing.
they got one of these companies got bought by Shueisha recently. I
think Shueisha should buy Seven Seas because they have a lot of their stuff.
So Shueisha is the parent company of Viz, right?
Yeah.
yes.
You don't know Viz has a secret arm called Blue Manga. It's where they license all their BL.
Yeah.
So they don't want it because they don't want BL on there. So maybe they should buy 7 Seas and just have 7 Seas as like the one where it has all the ecchi and stuff in there. I don't know, maybe it does, but I think 7 Seas is its own independent company right now.
It looks like it. I can't find anything anyway.
But if they did, that'd be a power play to just buy that and just keep it as like the subsidiary for all like the more raunchy manga or something.
7 Seas also has the rights to Mushoku Tensei.
Huh, yeah.
But that's
Viz
probably because it was a light novel.
Viz doesn't do light novels
They
very
don't really
often
do 'em,
unless it's
no.
like directly connected to a manga
Like
or
the
it's like
Naruto ones.
yeah, or it's like it's a weird one-off that they usually do.
Yeah.
Like
Did they do the Death Note one?
Mhm.
yeah, anything Death Note they'll license. They could probably also buy 7 Seas to have a light novel arm.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Kodansha app's going to be fun for me because I
Yeah.
do read a lot of romance stuff.
Yeah, like
That-
Rent a Girlfriend,
yeah.
Nagatoro.
Mhm.
Kodansha has like some slapping stuff.
Yo, I'm so excited for this app though. Like,
Yeah.
if it's anything like what we currently have with the Shonen Jump app or the Manga Plus app, and like there's a subscription I can pay and essentially get access to all of it, or there's the ticket system, and I could literally just read anything that they have like in their thing. Because I've always wanted to read, be Slime. What's it called? Reincarnated as a Slime.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to read that manga. I've always wanted to read Sweat and Soap. I read Rent a Girlfriend and Nagatoro weekly as they come out, and having like just the simulpub as well. That's incredible. But man, if it does a good job of like competing with those other apps, I'm sold. That's it. Like I'm definitely subscribing because
No, I'm
I'm
with you
super
too.
into it, dude.
What I'm going through a phase right now, and you showed me an app that is helping me with that, is I'm trying to get my manga on the best, like my favorite places to read it. And I do have complaints about the Shonen Jump app, but I still think it's one of my favorite apps to read on. The Manga Plus one I really like too, but other than just the little gripes I have.
I hate scrolling on Manga Plus.
Yeah.
I'm much more of a swipe left or right rather than just
Well,
up
and I
down.
also like the click. I wish some of those
wait.
apps worked with my.
I
volume
swipe
button.
on my Manga Plus. I swipe.
Oh really? Left
Yeah.
and right?
I
Yeah.
swipe on my Manga Plus as well.
That might be
Guess
a
I just
setting.
didn't change the setting or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more of a swipe guy because it's kind of like you're turning a
Yeah.
page.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a
That's my
swipe
thought
too.
process
But I'm
too.
just sick of having, like, on my phone right now to read all of the manga that I do have. I've got 4 apps, and I'm trying to get that down to 2. But the problem is a lot of the Kodansha stuff that I read, there's nowhere to read it.
I have 3 apps, but I don't even really use the Shonen Jump app unless it's Sunday morning. But even then, I could just use the Manga Plus app because it's
Yeah.
there as well if I
Yeah.
really wanted to.
True.
I don't know. The K Manga app, I think that's gonna be really fun. I'm pretty excited for it. I really hope it's not bad. Fingers crossed, I guess.
We'll probably.
Let's hope it's not like the freaking Square Enix one. The
Oh, where it's like all
Manga
censoring
up.
all bad.
yeah, the manga up.
We'll definitely.
And also the censoring, like, I don't think that was a little goofy, but I don't think it totally killed the manga. It was pretty fun. It probably did kind of ruin the immersion or whatever. But the one thing
there's no titties.
But the one thing I did not like was the fact that they like it said chapter 1, chapter 2, but what they did is they cut up the chapters and you have to like use coins to read them. And so when you get like chapter 5 part 1, but then you like get chapter 5 part 2 and throw coins, it's like that's so scummy.
Yeah, that's a joke.
That's so scummy. Like just do a membership. Just like say, "Hey, get all the chapters complete for this fee."
Even like
Instead,
$5 isn't bad.
They did microtransactions just to milk more money out of people.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do that.
So
It's not a video game.
here's to hoping with K Manga. We'll let you guys know about it because I'm sure all 3 of us are gonna try it out
Yeah.
as soon as it drops, and so we'll
Sounds
give
hot.
you our review on it. Next up, we have is, like as Dana alluded to earlier, the voice actor for the English dub of Professor Oak in the Pokemon anime is retiring due to, I think you said it was throat cancer.
Yeah, throat cancer.
Very, very sad.
And he's I think been the only voice actor who's been there since the very first Pokemon.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think any of them moved over from 4Kids.
Are you sure?
I can't confirm that.
Well, I
but
read
don't
it.
know.
He said he's been there since the beginning.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm curious now.
Yeah.
Is
and
it
he's
the
voiced-
English one though?
He's
you
voiced
said?
Yeah.
Gary and another person, but Yeah.
Because the Gary one's definitely changed.
Yeah. That's weird because it did say he's been there since the beginning, so I don't know.
Well, that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
kind
yeah,
of. That's
it
really
looks
sad.
like it. It looks like he's the only one.
How old is he, though? He's got
Yeah.
to be an older gentleman.
Stan Hart. He is.
Probably in his 60s, I'd imagine.
Is that him?
Doesn't say. I'm assuming that's what behind the voice actors
Yeah.
is telling me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, looks like it's the same. Well, hold on. This is just the original Professor Oak.
Okay.
What about the Professor Oak from recent times? In Pokemon Evolutions, it was Keith Silverstein. I've heard his name before. In Journeys, it was James Carter Cathcart.
Yeah, I think that's him.
That's the guy?
Yeah.
And so before that, it wasn't him.
Oh, it wasn't.
Before that, it was... I need to keep going farther back. Diamond and Pearl. Yeah, Stan Hart was the original.
Okay.
He's the hello there.
Yeah.
The one from Pokemon Snap,
Yeah.
like, welcome back. You did
Alright.
well. That guy. That's
Well,
Stan Hart.
well, Anime News Network said he was there since the beginning, so they might
That's
have.
that's
yeah.
just not true then. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think any of the four kids
Then
actors
again, I
stayed.
don't think this is the first time Anime News Network has been incorrect on a story.
Yeah.
I say that as I can't think of any examples, but I'm pretty sure there's been a few.
Regardless, it's very sad, and we hope that he gets feeling better.
Yeah. I don't think he can feel better from throat cancer.
Well,
but
I mean,
okay.
you could get
Maybe get into, like,
Hey.
recovery.
recover from it.
recover.
Feel
Well,
better from it.
he can't voice act anymore. I'll tell you that
Sure,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was definitely old though, so he was probably
Yeah.
getting close to the retiring age anyway.
Man, throat cancer just messes you up. Have you ever seen Val Kilmer?
Mm-mm.
He got throat cancer. He's like in his 60s. He looks 80.
He's not doing well. He was on
He was
the
in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Oh,
But you look at him, he's 60, but like it just ravaged him so bad.
Yeah, comparing him to Tom Cruise, you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Which he still might be a little bit older than Tom Cruise, but
Did you
regardless,
see that
he looks way
stunt
older.
that Tom Cruise did
to
in
promote the
Mission Impossible?
Yeah. He's like doing this ad where he's like, "Hey guys, thank you so much for watching Top Gun Maverick. It means so much to me." Then he jumps out of an airplane and he's like, "We're filming this right now to promote the
Yeah.
new Mission Impossible, so I gotta go.
Yeah.
But thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching my
Yeah.
movie. See ya." He's like just skydiving,
Yeah.
like only
no,
Tom
no.
Cruise.
No, there's one where Tom Cruise did this stunt about like a ton of feet in the air with a parachute, and then like he just jumps off a motorcycle and just flies.
Oh, I do know that
it's like,
one.
oh my god. That man's I think in his 60s and he's still doing stuff like that.
So, speaking of impossible feats, I think the other thing that I'm sure we all wanted to bring up, but Mal. I don't like Mal, but there was a show that came out this season that has surpassed Full Metal Alchemist.
It's almost every other season. It's like a show that does that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
so it
Bleach
doesn't hold it for very long.
No, it doesn't hold it for very long. Bleach was there. It did that. I don't get why, but I guess Bleach fans came out of the woodwork for that. Then before, it was another Akasaka anime, Kaguya-sama. There's a few that try to surpass
Full Metal.
Full Metal, but it's not very often. But Oshinoko was
Is
the one.
Oshinoko still number
it's
one?
still number one right now.
Yeah.
How much higher is it?
0.05 higher.
I think
But-
that's cool.
So this is going to be one of the things that I'm going to point to. How many users have voted on all of these? Oshinoko has 350,000 users that have voted. Full Metal's got 3.1 million that have voted on it. Excuse me, 1.5 million. The other 1.5 million is their alt account. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
That's probably true. No, that's probably true.
And then we got Bleach with 423. Attack on Titan with 400. Steins Gate with 2.4 million. Gintama with 587,000.
Yeah, back then there was like a back and forth between Steins Gate and Full Metal.
Mm-hmm. And then Kaguya-sama was 795. So, like, when it comes down to, like, actual, like, numbers of people that have voted for
dropped
these things,
hard.
Yeah, it's number 7 right now. But, like, it's interesting because Attack on Titan's been up on the top ever since the final season started airing, and it hasn't fallen down. Kaguya-sama has fallen down, and Bleach is still up there, but I don't know for how much longer that's going to be up there,
well,
too.
Well, probably the second season, they'll probably try to spike it up with the second season.
Yeah.
When that airs, which is...
But it's just interesting to me, like, how many users actually vote on these things. Looking at, like, the top 50. Oh, my gosh, this is hilarious. I get this pop-up on Mal that says, have you seen this anime? It just shows Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yes, I'm pretty sure everyone has seen Full Metal Brotherhood.
But, yeah, most of, like, the top 20 are under a million. But there's a handful that are above a million. The ones that are above a million are Clannad After Story, A Silent Voice, Gintama, just base, I guess. And
you can sort by popular instead of like highest rated.
Hunter x Hunter, Attack on Titan, Steins Gate, and that's the Attack on Titan season 3. It's so dumb how they split them up in multiple seasons too. I hate that as well. And then Full Metal.
So does that make me a normie if I've seen most of those?
It's up to you, I guess.
Standard anime fan, like
I don't know. The Mal ranking system is so like wonky just because of how many votes these different shows get.
If you sort it by popularity, I'm pretty sure it's a different outcome.
How do I do that?
Popularity is the number of users.
Yeah.
The most popular one is Attack on Titan, season 1. And then Death Note, and then Full Metal, One Punch Man, Sword Art Online.
So those are the ones
5
that have been voted on the most.
Voted on the most.
There you go. That's the more
accurate.
Yeah, it's more accurate rather than the score. It's more engagement than what people have had.
I think I like that better, honestly.
Yeah, like it shows you just how much people are like engaging with an anime more rather than just some score number.
Yeah. I guess the only reason I wanted to bring that up is because we have some friends that Cole and I have been trying to get them to watch Oshinoko. We're like, dude, the first episode slapped. You need to go check it out. Watch it. And then one of them was browsing Mal, and he saw that was number 1 over Full Metal. He's like, all right, bet. I'm watching it. Loved it, of course.
It's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys want to talk about it a bit? I mean, we're not going to spoil too much of it since there's some big surprises, but when I was first watching it, I was like at the beginning and the end, I was like, wow. But like in the middle, it's like, I don't know. I don't feel as engaged.
Yeah.
Like the middle was kind of rough, but the beginning and the end were like really engaging. Like the ending definitely, like it hooks you. It's like, oh, now I really got to watch this show.
The middle slows down heavily.
Yeah.
And like based on like what's going on in the story, it makes a lot of sense why it would.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, it's still kind of rough that it slows down. I would say, so the entirety of episode 1 spans the first volume of the manga. I think if you're getting into this series, volume 1 of the manga does a better job pacing wise than the anime does, just because of that slowdown in the middle. And manga is just a faster read. But I think the anime does an overall better job of like essentially not retconning things, but like adding things in that would make sense later on in the future. One, I guess not really a spoiler, but one thing to just point out as to give an example of that is their whole Mangekyo Sharingan thing going on. I don't know what to call it. It's like their star eyes or whatever.
Starry eyes.
The Mangekyo Sharingans they got going on. There's a scene with Ai, the main idol girl, and it shows her Sharingans go from white to black for half a second. And when that scene was first shown, it doesn't in the manga. It doesn't do that. But then when that scene was shown again in the manga later on, they did show that it went back and forth. So essentially, they retcon / like apply to what would be in the future as well. So that's how the anime does a better job in that regard. But if you want better pacing, just read the manga. Just because mangas are always paced pretty dang well, just in general, because it's just always pretty quick reads anyway.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it's also you can read a chapter, and then take a break. Whereas I feel like if you were going to watch Oshinoko, this is probably the best way they could have done it.
I don't think they could have not done episode 1 the way they did it.
Yeah,
they did do it.
I agree.
If they would have done it any other way, no one would have kept watching it.
It's kind of like what I say to people. It's like, oh, I'll go back and experience Dragon Ball. So you just go read the manga.
Well, just like Thane was saying
Yeah.
earlier, the part that got slow, that's where they would have ended episode 1. If they ended
Yeah.
that right where you said
Yeah.
it was going to slow, would you have watched episode 2 or been compelled to?
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, that's just the way it is. There was no way for them to not do it this way.
And I think it's because, to me anyway, it's because it's such a bait and switch where you think you're getting one story and then you're like, oh no, it's going to be something else. Oh.
It's actually this. Or
Yeah.
it's
If
actually
they
this.
wanted us to compel it, they would have to add like a few scenes, like to make you compel. It's like, oh, something sinister happens
Totally,
in the
totally.
second episode.
Yeah, they'd have to have some kind of like foreshadowing or
That
something.
adds some kind of hook.
I just remember when I was reading this, before it was even announced as an anime, I was reading it and thought to myself, if this ever became an anime, they'd have to do like this entire like section in one go. And then when I got announced as an anime, I was like, yeah, if they don't do the entire thing, no one's gonna keep watching it. And then they did that. They did exactly what I thought. I think I even told you this
Yeah,
like
I remember you
months
telling
ago.
me that.
I said they're gonna have to do the whole first episode, be like an extra long episode or something, and lo and behold,
It's
they
a
did
movie.
it.
So
But yeah,
yeah. If you're gonna watch this, it's first episode's like just under 90 minutes. It's feature length pretty much.
I'll give you guys a spoiler. It's probably gonna be my number 1 of the season. Like, I don't think there's any
Yeah.
way anything beats it. Like,
Uh,
I love a lot of these other shows that are coming out right now, but Oshinoko is just so effing good. Especially because I know what's gonna happen. Like, I already know how good it's gonna be. So
yeah.
that's my spoiler for you guys.
Well-
It's probably my number 1.
The other two that I like because I know what's gonna happen. Hell's Paradise and Heavenly Delusions. I think those might be my number 1s. Those shows are more my speed.
I used to
But
think
Oshinoko's pretty good.
I used to think things like Hell's Paradise were at my speed, but like as much as I enjoy the anime as I'm
Yeah.
watching it, I'm just kind of like, I guess, on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not as hooking me as much as I was hoping it was going to, but at the same time, I'm very excited to keep watching.
Yeah.
I guess I'm much more into the idea of
I
Or
honestly
something like
think the
Oshinoko.
better stuff happens like in probably a second season, whenever they're gonna get to that, because I feel like it's gonna be a Chainsaw Man
Totally,
situation where they're gonna
totally.
end the first season. You have to wait forever for the second season.
So let's move into talking about our seasonal stuff. That was
Yeah.
kind of a good transition there. We're gonna talk about one show that we're kind of into and one show that we're kind of not, and we're gonna go relatively quick because we're getting to about the halfway point. So the show that I want to talk, I'm gonna start with the one that I'm kind of not into, and it's called A Galaxy Next Door. When I first read the premise of this, I thought it'd be kind of fun. It's essentially a mangaka that gets an assistant that's really cute, and the assistant helps him. Obviously, that's her job, and then they kind of it's a romance. They're gonna get together. Well, holy cow, is it not fun? I was just so like, as I'm watching these episodes, I'm like, yikes, dude! It's just not doing it for me. I think I'm gonna give it one more episode, but if it doesn't like pick up after the next episode, I'm done with it. I'm 3 episodes in at this point, but
Did you have any drop shows?
it's either gonna be this show or
Okay.
another show. But I won't talk about that one until
Okay.
later.
Okay.
Unless I do drop it, because I need to watch the 3rd episode still.
Is
I'm
your
gonna-
favorite Oshinoko? We already talked a lot about that one.
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah.
But another show just that's not like one that we haven't already talked about that I wanted to bring up is this one. It's My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999. This show's just fun, dude.
Yeah.
It's just straight up Wotakoi vibes, and I'm totally into it. I'm so sold at this point. Like, when I get to the end of the season, I'm probably gonna pick up the manga and read it. It's gonna be one of those things for me. I'm almost sure of it. It's fun because the characters are a little bit older. I mean, the boy's technically still in high school, but the main character is a girl like in her 20s, and she's in college. And I'm just so into shows with older characters. That's why I thought I was gonna like The Galaxy Next Door, because they were older characters too, but it just wasn't doing it for me. But yeah, it's essentially this gamer girl who gets dumped by her gamer boyfriend and finds a new gamer boy to fall in love with. I'm into it. I'm totally down. It's hilarious. I'll give you one thing. I told Skylar about this because it's so funny to me. Her ex-gamer boyfriend sent her a DM in the game that said, "Hey, can you send me all of that stuff I gave you in game because it was rare? I need it back." Just like this
It's like
freaking
RuneScape.
sleazeball.
Do I want an anime that like people are playing, but they're like, it looks like RuneScape. It's like, oh, they're OGs. Is RuneScape even popular in Japan, or even like
I
has
don't
a
think
presence?
so.
Yeah. Honestly, I want a version of RuneScape that feels more modern. Like it's the systems that are addicting. But like when I tried to play modern RuneScape, which nobody really likes to like old school. But even then, it's like I don't think I could get into either because the controls like feel so archaic. So.
But those are my two shows.
Yeah.
So what shows
Sorry
are you
about
watching?
the tangent
Thane?
on. How much overlap do we have?
Between shows?
Yeah, we
I
got
think
Heavily
we've got
Delusions.
a lot of
There's a lot of
Heavily Delusions, Hell's Paradise. Oshi
by
no
the way,
Ko.
if you guys got overlap, don't bother.
Yeah.
Just keep talking. Just like
Yeah.
if you both want to
Yeah.
talk about the same show, it doesn't matter. Just do it.
I just
like,
want to know how much.
I don't think it
because I feel like
matters.
we have a lot of overlap.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap, but I think it's completely
My
fine
Home
to talk
Hero.
about the same stuff.
Dead Mount Death Play. I think that's you and I think.
Yeah,
Demon Slayer. I think is Cole and I.
The one kid.
yeah. Dangers in My Heart.
That's me and you.
Yeah. Well, the one show I think you guys are not watching because it's like one of those weird experimental shows I like. It's called Magical Destruction. And it's set in the dangerous future of 2011, where a military organization has pretty much rounded up all the otakus, like a otaku holocaust, and it's pretty much rounded up all the otaku nature, otaku interests, and otakus in general, and just put them in camps as protected people. But they're forced to do it. They're like pretty much just prisoners.
Are they making them like do stuff or like be gamers still?
No, they're just like, from what it says, like one character said, they said they're protected, but they're just treating them like prisoners in cages. They're just
Do they give them copies of Weekly Shonen Jump at least?
no, they just keep them in the cages. It's horrible.
What is this show?
I don't know.
Is this the show you're enjoying? The show you're not enjoying?
It's the show I'm enjoying for
All the wrong reasons.
yeah, all the wrong reasons. It's like the characters all have weird simple names. Say like the main character's named Otaku Hero.
What a name!
Yeah,
that's my main character. That's my MC
Yeah.
right there.
and he looks like the stereotypical otaku with like the swirly glasses, the bushy hair, and he wears one of those helmets.
Is it black hair?
No, it's brown.
Does he sit in the back of the class by the window?
He's an adult.
Would he? Did
Probably.
he back in the day?
Probably.
Probably.
They haven't
That's all
got
I
to
needed to hear.
They haven't got to the school flashback episode yet. But anyways, he leads the 3 magical girls.
Oh.
Their names
yeah.
were Anarchy Chan, Blue Chan, and
Blue.
Pink Chan.
So it's not
it's
yellow.
Was this made by an AI?
Probably.
AI show?
Sounds like it.
No, but like, yeah, it's one of those like I like weird experimental shows that like there's nothing like them, and it's probably not for the best, but hey, I'll probably watch the whole thing. It's
Fellow man of trash lover.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
What's your dumpy?
Yeah, what's your dump?
We gotta go quick.
Oh yeah,
for
it's
cameras.
Death Mount Death Play.
Ooh.
You don't like that one?
It just feels bland to
I
me,
heard it's
man.
very edgy.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
having
very
so much
edgy.
fun with that one.
It's
actually.
very edgy, and it's like, God, this is just one of those edgy shows you'd see back in the day, and it's just
I like the bait and switch. I think
Yeah.
that's what. Not that I've seen a lot of isekai, but I'm really digging this one.
yeah, it's just edgy for edgy's sake, and it's like
Black hair guy. Sit in the
white
back
hair.
of classroom.
he's got white
No,
hair,
this
but
is
he
a
has like
white-haired emo boy.
he
Sits
has a
in the
black
back of
streak
classroom?
in the hair.
He
By the window.
doesn't go to school. He skips.
If he did.
No,
if
he would skip. He's
It's-
a class
Oh,
skipper.
Yeah.
he's a delinquent.
Yeah, he's a delinquent.
So that's your dumpy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to assume, but was that going to be the show you're going to talk about that you liked?
No, I was gonna do Demon Slayer.
Okay, do Demon Slayer then.
Demon Slayer slaps so hard. The first freaking episode's just a movie, and it hits the ground running. This
concur,
last
by the way.
episode that I saw was just baller ass. It was so good,
Demon Slayer pretty good.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I agree.
and it just looks good. It's freaking eye candy.
Music's phenomenal.
The
Love
dumpy I
intro.
wanted to talk about, and I need to clarify that I don't think in and of itself it is a dumpy show, but I've already read the manga, was Dr. Stone. I don't know. Like, Dr. Stone has such high highs, but it takes so long to get there. And the in-between, for me anyway, is just so incredibly
When
boring.
reading the manga, I feel like when they do science, they just BS their way. It sounds smart, but I'm pretty sure a lot of it's just like BSing.
See, and in the way that they animate that in the anime is pretty fun because they do like Minecraft animations where they're like, "This is how we do things," instead of just having a full page of all the ingredients and the order that they go in.
And start putting it together in the
it's pretty fun. But like, I don't know. I've already read it, so I know what happens, and I'm just like, oh my god, we got so long to get to where we're going.
It gets pretty ridiculous towards the end. Like they
so
really
season 3 is what you're looking for.
I just don't know if I would ever watch this just because I already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh.
The manga, it doesn't get very good at the last arc because they just BS their way through a lot of stuff.
That was pretty savage.
And I feel like they just wrap it up real quick. They're just here we were and here we are.
It feels like one of the endings where it's like we want to do more, but we got to end the series.
Catch you in the spinoff.
Yeah. Catch you in the spinoff if we ever make it.
Yeah, but that's it.
Cool. Well, that's the shows we're watching for this season. That was the news.
And here's the thing. Dr. Stone is a good show. It's a good manga. If you like that stuff, read it. Maybe you're a smarter man than I and say, actually, the science is.
And if
proven.
you haven't read it or watched it, it's kind of a fun first experience, but not a double dipper.
I might give it a go one of these days.
Yeah, probably watch the anime.
That's a pretty big maybe, I'm going to be honest. But that's the first half of our show. When we get back after our break, we are going to be talking full-on spoilers of Takt OP.Destiny. So stay tuned. Enjoy that section when we get there. We'll see you guys in just a bit. And we are back from our break. Welcome. And now it is time to talk about that one anime.
With the big name. The big dumb name.
Takt OP.Destiny.
That one, that's the one. And we're going to be doing our normal recap / discussion. I've got a couple things that I want to talk about it specifically. I've actually got a lot of notes for this show, surprisingly. I didn't realize how much notes I actually had for this. A lot of my notes kind of just end up being the same things, if I'm going to be honest, like the same conversation. And I imagine there's going to be like one or two large conversations based on the notes that I took anyway. But without further ado, Takt OP.Destiny is essentially a post-apocalyptic world where music has become outlawed because music spawns big monsters called D2s. To counteract these D2s, anime girls with guns have also spawned, called music arts, to fight. That's the show. And the plot of the story is our main boy, his name is Takt.
Takt Asahina.
Episode 1 was fun, but man, was it trash for the actual plot. Like, it just didn't do anything. It was literally just like, look how cool this show can be.
Let's introduce our characters, but not
introduce them.
Yeah.
Let's introduce our characters, but not actually introduce them. And then episode 2 actually starts the series.
Yeah.
But anyway, episode 2 starts out with our boy Takt. He plays the piano. He's got his childhood friend Cosette. Cosette's kind of like, yo, you should play the piano for the people. And he's like, not really. I'm not into it. And then she gets him to play the piano for the people. During said piano performance, the D2s attack, killing Cosette in the process, and severely wounding Takt as well.
Ripping his arm off. As a result of their musical love that they were making. What?
Cosette doesn't necessarily completely die. She turns into a music art named Destiny, and she is now, I guess, linked to Takt. Takt is her maestro, and they fight shonen fights throughout the rest of the series together.
She has a Monado.
She's got a Monado.
Yeah, that shoots lasers.
And
instead of just being a laser sword, it shoots the laser swords.
And Takt has a stick.
Yeah.
With a ruby.
I don't know why, but I was thinking, man, I should play Xenoblade Chronicles sometime. And I was watching this anime. Maybe there's some
now you know.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Subliminal advertising there,
which is ironic because this is definitely I should actually, let's preface this before we really get into the show. The whole show is an ad.
Yeah,
it's an ad for a mobile game called Takt OP that hasn't even been released yet.
Yeah, it's coming out in June, from what I looked up.
Yeah,
I thought the game was already out. But then I looked it up, double looked up. It's like, the anime was made 2 years even before this game was. They on Wikipedia it dubs it as a multimedia franchise, but that's just code for we made a bunch of made a bunch of stuff of anime and manga to promote a game promote an album.
If they were really gaming, what they should have done is they should have released the anime, and on the release of the final episode is when the game goes live, because the game is more or less a sequel to the anime.
Yeah,
Maybe they did have intentions, but it was another one of those.
COVID?
might have been.
Oops, yeah.
COVID got him.
Might have been delayed. Maybe like ideas or COVID. I know that Japan apparently has problems with COVID. With
Even
2 anime I
nowadays.
watched
So
last season,
They
COVID hit
must
them.
have a big budget though. This was Mappa that did this one.
And
Mappa
Madhouse.
and Madhouse, yeah, together.
Two
Big
Powerhouses.
names.
Big Bang Studios.
So, getting more into the show, now that we got that out of the way, I will talk a bit about the sequel, quote unquote sequel, at the end of this when we get to like the ending and the discussion, just 'cause I feel like it's relevant to the conversation. But so that's the show essentially.
Yeah.
You got Takt and not Cosette. It's Takt and Destiny. They're going all the way. By the way, the setting is the United States. It's essentially the 50s, but it's not the 50s. It's
So let me
2047.
let me get to that. So yeah, they're supposed to be set in the future, 2047. And you said post-apocalyptic, but it's not really. It's more like dystopian, but everything's still functioning.
But see, here's one of the
I'd
things.
call it post-apocalyptic
Yeah, I
still.
would
Yeah.
call it post-apocalyptic too, but
They just don't show it very well.
well, in my opinion, it was confusing because some parts are just absolutely eviscerated,
Yeah.
and then you go to some parts,
like New York.
yeah, or like the casino where you're like, there's loud
Vegas
music.
was destroyed.
Huh?
Vegas was essentially destroyed.
Sure,
Yeah.
but they still had that nice hotel that they were in where
Yeah.
they were doing the. Granted, D2s did show up, but like there was loud music playing and
Yeah.
lots of lights, and it was
Yeah.
a big party. And in my head, I'm like,
Where's the D2s?
where's the D2s?
Yeah.
Granted, they do show up later,
Yeah.
but my whole thing with the post-apocalyptic is I felt like
D2s are very inconsistent when they
well,
attack.
Well, it was that, but it's just the inconsistency of showing like how much of the world is affected by the D2s
Yeah.
because you go to some parts that are eviscerated and some parts are untouched, and it's just a
Yeah.
little bit confusing.
Like people lived in that trailer park like there were nomads. Like nothing's wrong, but yeah.
So let's talk about the world building a little bit then. I feel like this is a good time to talk about that. I think the world building in this show is surprisingly very well done. I think it's one of the better world buildings we've actually seen in most of these like watch along episodes we've ever done. I think the only ones that really beat it are things like Gurren Lagann. To be honest, like I really think this is up there. It's like probably within the top 3 of these shows, and it's because they do so much. They show both the civilizations that haven't really been touched. They show the civilizations that have been completely affected, and they show the civilizations that have adapted from this event that has taken place. Let alone it being across the entire United States as well. Like the whole journey takes from like one end to the other. Super cool. You could tell the people that made this actually put in a lot of thought when they were making it. They basically said, I imagine the conversation went like this. It would be cool if there was like underground music bar kind of things.
Yeah.
And then like essentially speakeasies. And so which is why they added the 50s in there, or the 20s or whatever it's supposed to be, because it's supposed to be reminiscent of that time in the United States when drinking alcohol was outlawed. And so they would have underground bars. They essentially did the same thing with music. And I thought that was very cool. Very well thought out, and honestly a great world building tool that they used. Showing things like Las Vegas. Granted, I think we got, specifically me anyway, I don't know if you guys can agree to this, but I feel like I got more out of it because I know some of these areas in the United States. I've been to Vegas before, so like
I've been to Vegas too.
We've all been to Vegas. So we all kind of know what it's supposed to look like, and like we could see it in the distance. There's literally a shop like, oh look, it's the Mandalay Bay. I've stayed at that hotel, and like that's cool. But it was all run down obviously because it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then you see like what Vegas has become. Of course it's still Vegas, so there's still casinos there, and it's very cool. They knew what they were doing with their setting, with their world, and I thought that was very, very cool. Pretty dang happy with that for sure. That's my thoughts on the world building. What do you guys think?
I mean, I agree, but like going back to Thane's first comment, and what I was kind of talking about was I just felt like some of the consistency or establishing some of that was a little bit confusing for me.
Yeah, it looks like some places like they look like they regressed to the 60s. Like they should still look modern even though it's 2047. Like,
I think it was a stylistic choice at that point. I don't think it was anything other than that.
Yeah, it's probably a style choice. Like
100%.
to represent like
they go to a freaking diner at one point.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of just vibing with like a
Yeah.
record player.
Yeah.
That's kind of like things you'd see in a night, like a Tarantino movie, like the beginning of
Yes.
Pulp Fiction.
Well, the freaking
Yeah.
cover art for this anime
Yeah.
looks like a Tarantino cover art.
Yeah.
It literally looks like they said, that Tarantino guy's funny. Let's do what he's
Yeah.
doing, but anime.
So I guess where I was just a little bit, not necessarily pulled out, but just a little bit confused, though, was just like, how come New York looked basically untouched, but Vegas was eviscerated? And it
Well,
doesn't-
they do
Well,
explain.
they do
like,
explain that, yeah.
it's like the lab that they're researching these
The
things are right
Symphonica
there.
is
Yeah.
based in New York,
Yeah.
and so they're able to protect it.
Protect it a little
Yeah.
bit better.
Not better. They
To
protected
protect
it,
it.
yeah. No, the Symphonica really wasn't anywhere else in the States, from what I understand.
I guess they weren't they made after the D2s started attacking
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah, and like the organization was essentially located in New York. There's some flashbacks in like the last 2 episodes that shows New York when it's like kind of under siege essentially, and then the Symphonica fight back.
That's right.
So they've been saying they were able to rebuild over the time. So anyway, let's continue on. Takt and Destiny and Anna, they're heading throughout the United States. They're essentially, their goal is to get to New York so they can.
It's a road trip.
I don't know. I don't actually
they
know
start in
what the point
California?
was.
I think they were trying to figure out more about themselves, weren't they? Trying to figure out like
Why are we a maestro and music?
and also I don't know, to learn more from the Symphonica, but also I think the
Anna's
fact
family was there too.
that, yeah, I think the fact that Charlotte was there was like a big deal.
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons. I feel like that was kind of weak, the reasoning to go to New York. Anyway, along the way, they meet many colorful characters, including Lenny, and he's a maestro and his music art, Titan, the best 2 characters in the show, let's be
Yeah.
honest. And that's pretty much it. We see
Yeah.
their adventures. Every episode's kind of like a new episode, who dis kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, what's
Did
going to
they-
happen this episode?
Did they start in California?
I had no idea.
Yeah, they never established where they start.
No, I honestly thought they started near the East Coast, but all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're in Vegas. So I'm like, well, they didn't start in the East Coast.
Probably started in
Probably
somewhere
California.
Close, yeah, probably. I mean, you say safe bet. Probably San Francisco.
Honestly, that
Yeah.
sounds like a very
Yeah.
safe bet. Let's go with that one.
Yeah,
And so, being the show that it is, it heavily revolves around music and fighting monsters. Now, I think this gets into the biggest conversation. I think there's another conversation we can have after this about just the actual plot in general. But before we get there, I want to just talk about like more of the themes and the setting of it all, and how music should have been implemented better, in my
Agreed.
opinion.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So the whole premise of it is that music essentially is. It seems like it's the most effing important thing in anybody's lives in
Yeah.
the entire world. They literally play it off as like it's religion to them essentially, and like they can't have religion anymore, but they do it in secret and stuff. They make it seem like it's the biggest, most baddest thing, or not bad, it's like bad in a cool way, I guess.
Yeah.
The biggest, coolest thing in the world, and that they want to get it back so freaking bad. But then it's not a huge, it doesn't really like take precedence in anything they ever do. There's only a couple times where I felt like it actually like worked really, really well, and other times that I felt like it sorely lacked. My biggest complaint though has to be just with the fact that the fighting didn't revolve around the music.
it wasn't a rhythm game.
It wasn't a rhythm game, and honestly, looking at the gameplay of the game, it's just a turn-based RPG.
That would be that'd been so unique. There's like those free to play mobile games that are rhythm games.
Should have been a rhythm game.
Yeah, you buy a song. It's like a gacha RPG, but has rhythm game.
The gacha
mechanics.
comes with
yeah.
a song or something like that.
Yeah, and then you play the song to beat the enemy.
I
It's
literally
like,
think it writes itself along with the
Yeah.
show, and like there was a lot of potential for using the music. My biggest thing that I wish they would have done is, so each of the music arts are essentially a personification of a song. That's what their gist is. It became much more clear as you saw more of the music arts. I don't know what Titan song was. I don't know what Destiny song was. Valkyrie's song was the dun da 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 da. That was obvious.
Yeah.
I think Destiny is supposed to be a Beethoven song.
Is it the dun 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 dun?
Yeah,
think,
th-
yeah.
I heard that little melody a
Yeah.
few times, which
Yeah.
that was one of my favorite things about it. Was
Totally.
because I'm totally with you. It's like this is a show about music, and they totally jerk off music throughout the whole entirety of it. but nothing musically ever
Never
happens. And even when they were fighting, like, I like the idea of having the maestro be the conductor of the music art, but what do they do?
So yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I do too. I like having them be the conductor. How much cooler it would have been if Takt freaking summoned a piano every single time they would fight, and that's how he would essentially conduct Destiny, was by playing her song essentially. So you'd hear him play dun 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 dun.
Yeah, that would have been way cooler.
So it matches up with the beats of the fight too and everything. I think that would have been incredible, and they could have really played into that as well. Like later on, we even see there's one character that's dressed up like a nutcracker. You hear a smidgen of that person's song, and you know instantly it's the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
And it was like 100%. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something?
I was trying to look up what Titan is. I thought it was the Planet Suite by
okay.
Gustav,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not that.
No.
But they probably are. But I saw some footage of the gacha game. One I think is named like Jupiter.
Yeah,
So,
that's probably the planets in, isn't it?
Yeah.
I saw another one in the gacha that was just Twinkle Star. I'm like, I wonder what that is.
Yeah.
I wonder what you are.
Yeah, I just feel like that was such an undercooked thing where it was like I said, I love the idea of them battling together and how they were using
Destiny Symphony No. 5 from Beethoven.
How does that go?
Let's see. Yeah, it's da-na-na-na,
okay.
ba-na-na-na.
Yeah, I like the whole theme of like being in sync and harmonizing together, and the better you harmonize, the better
and
you
you'd
fight.
get that occasionally. Like you'd see him lead her, and then she'd do a thing. Like that was cool, really
but
cool.
Not very often, and granted, I think that's kind of the fault of the anime medium, where you can't have both characters on screen fighting every single battle, every frame. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where that falls a little bit, but. Like I said, I don't know. I just feel like that's such a cool thing that was just undercooked.
Yeah.
100%. That's probably my biggest complaint.
That should have been their battle themes. Is like the
without a doubt. I would have been fine hearing the same stuff over and again, especially because they could have remixed it in different ways as well.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have to do the same every time.
Well, and what if they would have done like when they're not in harmony, the song sounds worse, and then when they are in harmony,
or something.
yeah, when they are in harmony, it's like more powerful. You hear more instruments.
Like such a half-baked thing. They just didn't do enough with it. They could have done so much more with it. And with as much money as it seemed to be pumped into it, I don't know why they didn't go full bore with it.
Yeah, so Titan is like a really long suite by Gustav Mahler.
Okay.
So it's probably one of those deep cuts if you're really into classical music, which, man, classical music is so hard to get into because all the freaking names are so long and you have to remember the names.
Or there's 7 parts to one song.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of classical music, and even I have a hard time getting understanding the names. Like I can kind of pick out some of Beethoven's symphonies and his sonatas.
Yeah.
No, not his symphonies, just his sonatas. I really only try to follow the sonatas anyway, but
and there's
even still
the thing about like naming them after battle themes. I mean after famous orchestral songs is that you can use their battle themes because all these are like royalty free. You pretty much got royalty free named after characters named royalty free songs, and they sound awesome. Unless some jergoth copyrighted it. But
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they had free reign with it. They could have done whatever they wanted.
Although sometimes, like when that old video we did, Aggression in the Kitchen, I used a Tchaikovsky song, which I thought
there is one thing specifically with copyrights. You have to make sure you get like a royalty-free version of the song.
Yeah,
you can't just use any generic person's version because they could copyright their version.
Yeah,
of it.
That's the thing. I took one person's version. They're like, "That's ours." It's like you can't copyright Tchaikovsky. It's not yours.
With something like this, they theoretically could do whatever they want because they just write their own version of it however they want to and perform it however they want to. So. A severely undercooked idea that could have been so much better than it actually was.
Maybe it's better implement. Wait, it's probably not. It's not implemented in the game, is it?
It'll be basically the same thing.
Yeah.
I bet you only hear like a little bit of their song when you pull them as a gacha or when they use their ultimate attack or something like that. That's my guess.
So, did you have something else, or were you going to lead into the plot?
I was going to move on to the next section. My next point, I guess. It's not plot related.
Oh, okay.
It's like a segue into the plot, if you will.
I've got one of those too.
I'll let you go then.
Okay, so my whole thing was I was just trying to pick out because music was the whole overarching thing, right? Overarching theme. So I was trying to pick out some things that were musically related in some way, shape, or form, listening for specific words or things that was going on screen. And one thing that I did pick out, which I don't know if this is what they were going for, but in music, you name chords, you give them a letter and then a number to signify what on the piano, like where that is. And D2 is what they called the monsters.
Yeah.
And they were summoned by a tuning fork.
Was it playing a D2?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'd have to look into that, but I'm assuming that's what they were going for. Was like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna summon these monsters with a tuning fork, which I thought was a little bit interesting. Where it's like, oh, that's something musical that they did. And I feel like there's a lot more things that they could have done with music, as we've already talked
the tuning
about.
fork is made out of rocks, a crystal. To be
Overall, just like as much as we kept saying it's underbaked, it's like to make something revolve around music, they just didn't use it enough.
Yeah.
They clearly made it obvious that all of the characters cared about music. They wanted it to be such a huge thing in everybody's life. They just didn't use it good enough. So I guess that'll lead into my next section, which is just the characters in general, and then we'll talk about the plot. Is kind of what I was going for. My biggest issue is the music thing. Second issue that I have is just the characters in general. I think this show would have been 10 times better if the characters were a tiny bit better than they were.
Yeah.
I'll read you what I have. This is
another thing on the music when I get to it. The best thing about the music was the opening.
The opening's pretty good.
Yeah,
and it had the rhythm style, like rhythm game style thing where the words got lit up.
Yeah. And the reason is that's because Supercell did the song, at least the orchestral bit, with two other vocalists.
I don't know what Supercell is.
That's the Rio of Supercell. That's the person who did the My Dearest from Guilty Crown.
No freaking way.
Yeah.
I got Guilty Crown vibes for the whole show.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they did the same.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay. So the thing I have about the characters, and I wrote this immediately after finishing episode 5. I say, 5 episodes in, and I can't express how the show would be better if the characters were fun and interesting. Destiny's a robot, and Takt is not likable. Orange Hair is the only one I like so far, and I don't even know her name.
Anna. I think her name's Anna.
I feel like she could have essentially been what I think they wanted her to be.
To be the Rock.
Yeah, to be the Rock. But
Yeah.
I just feel like she didn't get enough screen
Nope.
time. I think
Also, they made her worthless in the fights.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, she didn't do anything.
She should have been able to do
She's
something.
just a legal driver.
Especially because at the end they insinuate that she's going to be something in fights. So they should have been able to make her do something in the fights early on too. Yep, I agree with that.
She becomes a maestro at the end.
And also, I didn't really get the vibe
No,
that
we'll talk
she
about that
was.
in a second thing. That's not correct though.
I didn't get the vibe that she was into Takt that much, and then she kissed
I
him at
did.
the
I
end.
did.
You did?
I did. Yes. And so
I didn't feel it.
I didn't feel it either.
There were times when I was like, it's like a sisterly bond, but then there were times I'm like, she's jealous of Destiny. I could tell. I was like, she's kind of jealous of Destiny, especially when they like set him up on that date. The way that they kind of like set them up, I was like, bro, she's being a wingman for someone, and she's like it's freak. It made me sad. I was like, I could feel it. And then when she kissed him at the end, I was like, oh, I knew it.
See, in my head, I was just like, oh, she's just being a homie because she loves her sister, even though it's not really her sister, but she's still trying to be supportive and with the homies and whatnot.
Nah, bro, like it was like a I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like you're falling on your sword kind of thing because you're trying to help out your homie because you know your homie's into them, but you were also into them. No, I completely got that the entire time. It was definitely like much more pronounced in some areas than others. But like I guess that just goes to show the characters in general how I think they should have been better. Just ever so slightly better would have been enough, to be honest.
Even the villains, I feel like the villains could have been better.
I think the villains were the worst part of the show.
Yeah.
Well, like structurally.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we complain about the music the entire time, but so the characters, Anna, really dang good, and I love her ending. I think it could have been slightly better, like you said, if she had more screen time. Destiny, loved the arc of the robot becoming humanized. Should have happened a little bit faster. Takt, just an annoying kid.
Yeah.
Literally just an annoying kid. Should have got less annoying quicker. And then you got Lenny and Titan, best characters in the whole show. They should have been more prominent, which would have made Talk
he was
better.
writing?
He did.
Oh, okay.
See, I think my favorite character was Cosette when we saw her in the park.
For the half
Yeah,
episode.
literally, I was just like, "Oh my gosh! If I
So-
could have a dream girl, it would be her."
I
She
guess
died.
I guess we should
Yeah,
explain.
right.
We should explain this part. So, when Cosette died and she became a music art, a personality known as Destiny took over. Basically, so Cosette,
It's just
the
the body.
Cosette part died.
Yeah, because that's
And
dead.
then yeah,
We said that at the beginning.
we did.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was
Well,
my favorite.
So they also later explained that once we take regular girls, once they become music arts, the previous personality dies and a new one takes over.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really explore that too much. Like I would have liked to see that with Titan, maybe some of the other girls.
There was a couple things near the end where they're all like, let's not. They literally said it like word for like, we're not going to explain it because it's too technical. But it just essentially it was this. And I was just like, that's what I'm here for. Please explain
Yeah.
it. That's what I want to know.
Explain that stuff. I'd like to see that. Maybe they were planning on more seasons, or they're probably gonna explain it in the gacha game.
It's 100% that. They weren't planning on. This is the only thing
or
they were
maybe
ever planning on.
or maybe they're explaining in the manga. There's a
It's-
manga.
It's
Yeah.
literally just going to be season 2 is the game.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that at the very end. Let's
Yeah.
dive into the plot really quickly before we call it quits. The plot was relatively non-existent until the
Yeah.
last couple chapters, I would say.
Episodes.
Episodes.
Yeah.
When you-
Whatever.
When you get to episode 8, you go, "Oh, we actually have a show here."
Yeah.
Like, this show is actually good. It actually gets good. It took until episode 8 for me to go, "Wow, I'm actually invested into this." I was still watching it because I relatively enjoyed it. All of the character designs are phenomenal. Literally every single one of them does not miss, in my opinion. And then you get to episode 8 and you go, "Okay, cool. They're actually doing something with these characters and the plot and stuff." And then the villain just bad, in my opinion. I
Yeah,
think the
Yeah,
villain's
villain's
absolutely
What did you guys think
stereotypical
of
God
the-
complex?
What did you think? Yeah, the
Yeah.
population control
It's just,
as the motivation.
it's just
well, that's for the yellow-haired guy,
flawed.
for the
It's just
blonde guy.
flawed.
But I think the main villain who like had the crystal, I think he just
God complex, like you're
yeah,
saying?
God complex. He just wanted to merge with the crystal and could
It's
like be a god. It's
it,
like
it just felt overall flawed and not thought about. With as much thought as they went into with everything else, it felt like they just didn't bother to flesh this other part out because they were going to do it in the game. That's literally what it felt like to me.
maybe that was the I don't remember. I can't remember. The two villains kind of mixed with together. I think they both had something about population control. Yeah, because he had the tuning fork.
And he was summoning the DT.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Which,
The blonde hair guy was just a dick.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
Yeah.
yeah. I going back to just the characters in general, I think Lenny was the best. We got a lot of really cool moments between Lenny and everybody
my
else.
homie.
Literally, would have been better if we saw him more. And Talk's character would have been better too.
He-
That's my problem with it.
He came
should have seen more.
to kick some ass and then he dies.
Yeah, well, even at the end, it talked when him and Destiny were going into battle with Titan. He's like, "I got to do it for my master," and I'm just like,
I was like, bro, you didn't even like the dude.
"No, he didn't."
Yeah. It literally, like, his backstory and everything. Lenny was a phenomenal character. We should have had him, like, one more bonding scene with Talk earlier on.
Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Get rid of the freaking diner scene. Like, we don't need that. Get rid of that, like,
Yeah.
earlier on when they're freaking in Kansas or
isn't
something.
it funny how the best character in the show is a lolly with a shotgun?
Oh, dude, freaking
Yeah.
Titan is incredible.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
she goes
awesome.
freaking ape. Holy cow. That was crazy when she starts
It-
killing everybody
When
like
she
that.
she levels up, she goes freaking Super Saiyan by pulling out her
Her freaking
hairband.
braids.
Yeah.
There's
Oh, man.
there's two shows where there have been a lolly with a shotgun that we considered the best character of the show, and that was the combatants will be dispatched.
Advanced
And then cyberpunk.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk is
We need more lollies with
We
shotguns.
need more lollies with shotgun. That's what we've learned here. And then the final bit. Let's talk about the actual ending. Wow, was that depressing? Just absolutely depressing. I thought for sure they were gonna let us have a nice happy ending, and then they said no. They
I
said,
was
"Yeah,
like-
we're gonna kill Destiny."
Well, up until like they had that ambiguous endings, like you ready to Destiny? It's like
So what that was,
what?
so
Is
that's
that a new Destiny?
Essentially, yeah. So Anna took control of the personality of Destiny,
Oh.
but it's not necessarily the same Destiny from what I understand. I think it's still Anna.
Yeah, did you see the size of the boobs?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
still
yeah.
Anna. And so Anna's essentially a music art. She's not a maestro like you were thinking. And that's what it is. So minor spoilers for the game if you're that interested in the game. The game takes plays 20 years after the ending of this. Takt wakes up from his sleep to heal. And they're all just like, yeah, you forgot your memory because it's been 20 years and you were asleep the entire time, but you helped us back in the day, so now you need to help us. And Destiny's talking to him. I don't think they reveal that Anna is Destiny at that point, but just if you watch the anime.
Yeah.
And so they're all like, yeah, you're going to help us, and they go fight. I don't really know what the point of the plot is, but obviously it's a gacha game at that point, so it doesn't really matter what the plot is. But so that's the sequel. If you want more of this show, you got to go play the gacha game when that eventually comes out.
I think it has an American release since it's Bandai and Namco Bandai. And
Probably will, yeah.
See, I think the ending for me, I actually like the way that they ended it, because to me it just solidifies that character growth between Takt, Anna, and Destiny in episode 8, when Takt and Anna finally accept that Cosette is gone. This is now Destiny.
That was great.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have happened as fast as it did. It shouldn't have been able to progress as quickly as it was. They both got over Cosette actually being dead in their mind way too fast.
Here's my question, though, and I was going to ask you guys, what's our time frame here? Because I feel like the passage of time throughout this anime was...
They tell us, though, too. They have dates and stuff. I just wasn't following it.
I wasn't following it either.
I thought it said 1.2045, then later it said 2047. It's like, wait, jump 2 years?
See, I don't know. That was hard to follow.
I don't like timestamps when it's easier when a character says, I can't believe it's been 2 years.
Or even just visual. Some visuals like weather.
Oh my God, you're so old.
Yeah, weather or physical growth. But let's be honest, if they're going from California to New York, and I think we're assuming California, driving a couple days, a week.
Yeah. A week maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't take 2 years.
I mean, they stopped a lot. Let's say 2 weeks to a month.
Yeah,
I'll give them a month at max. So, final thoughts.
They gotta go visit that big ball of yarn.
They got to see the giant freaking green man look up his skirt.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts for me, anyway. You guys can say your final thoughts, too. My final thoughts are not as bad as I was expecting after watching 5 episodes. Not as good as I was hoping it was going to be from what I've heard from other people. Online, anyway. Animation looked phenomenal. Music was fun when it was there. Not as good as I was hoping, though.
Dude, some of the choreography was dope, too. I remember one scene where Destiny uses her gun and shoots it to propel herself, and I was just like, dude, that's so freaking cool.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is awesome. Thane, what are your final thoughts on this?
Just an average ad for a game.
Yeah.
Glorified ad.
I would say it's a better ad, but it's 100% a glorified ad.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Guy?
I like the idea. I like the world. I wish it would have been done better and better characters. But, I mean, I'm a sucker for music in any way that it can be implemented. So I think I gave it a 7. Like, it's swimming in 7s.
Yeah, I think that's what I would have. Pretty sure that's what I gave it to, as a 7. Yeah. Oh, I guess one final thought is it would have been cool if their weapons were music instruments too.
Yeah, that was another thing I was gonna say, because
they got the conductor wand, but I don't really know what that does.
Like, after seeing
it's just a prop. It looks like a prop.
The Xenoblade 3 DLC. In the trailer. There's a character that uses he plays a cello at one point, and that shoots instrument music, or shoots attacks with music. I'm like, freak, man, why wasn't this in Takt OP.Destiny?
Yeah. Well, so that rhythm game that I played forever ago, the freaks it called Soundfall.
Yeah.
Their weapons are musical instruments. Like there's a bow that's actually, I believe it's a violin or cello.
That's cool.
Or maybe it's a harp. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. But yeah, their weapons that they use are instruments, and it totally could have been easily done in this. So
yeah.
Well, that was
her big sword could be like a giant guitar,
or even a music note.
Giant musical notes.
Well, that was Takt OP.Destiny. We've got one more normal episode of this before we get to our moving arc. Thane,
recorded movie arc.
Yeah, for reals. Thane, you're the one who's got the next episode. What are we watching over the next 2 weeks?
Well, in honor of Music Week, I was gonna pick this one instead of the Vivi one, and I liked Vivi, but I figured out this one was 12 episodes because I thought it was longer. But it's a show called Kids on the Slope.
Kids on the
I've
Slope.
always wanted to watch this.
Yeah, and I think you guys will like this one. It's
I know nothing about it.
it's a slice of life about growing up in the 60s and loving jazz.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so there you go. Kids on the Slope. It's on Crunchyroll and Funimation on all the usuals, and yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Awesome. Well, guys, that is going to be our show for this week. If you made it to the end, let us know what your favorite musical instrument is. Let in the comments below. Stay tuned till next time when we talk about Kids on the Slope, and one more week of Pokemon before we move as well, so look forward to that as well. Please leave a like and subscribe if you're not already. Let your friends know about this so you can also binge anime with us as well. Thanks again for being with me, guys, on the show. I appreciate it.
It's fun.
I'm glad you guys were able to sit through the show with me because there was a time when I was like, dang, bro, did I just pick another freaking B the beginning?
I really like doing this, though,
Yeah.
because there are parts that I just don't pick up on. I
Yeah.
think, all of us probably miss out on some things. And then when I talk about
It's-
it with you guys, it's like, oh, okay.
It's fun to talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It
I'm not,
really is.
I'm not dumb. They just enlightened me. I guess I was dumb, and now I'm smart.
Sometimes it's a little stressful to like want to watch your backlog, but then you gotta watch this show. But
I agree. And
Yeah.
I felt that a little bit the first little bit of the show.
But
I
you
was
know,
like, dang, uh-oh. Did I pick a
all
dumb
you
P?
gotta do is either drop shows or maybe you just put them on hold.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what?
We'll
The
get to
show
it.
could interest me, but I think I'm just not gonna watch it this season. Maybe I'll do that for some of the shows, but I don't know.
Well, thank you guys again for listening or watching. We hope you guys have a fantastic week. And as always, have a great life. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Pew.